And we're live. Boys, how are we? Tank, you are incredibly giddy today. What's going on?
Do you know what it is, Jamie? I've got the World Cup winning team in front of me.
Is
it's not your birthday, is it? It's not your birthday, is it?
No. I've got the World Cup winning team, and do you know what's perked me up even more? Fucking Jimmy's cardigan. I can see it in full fucking view.
Have you gone Christmas cardi there? Go ahead, stand up, Jim. Give us a proper, give us a 12.
It's very much looks Christmas, but it's not a Christmas cardi.
That's a Christmas cardi.
When I say looks, Christmas wasn't the word I was thinking. It was fucking bad.
It's like from Scandinavia, isn't it? It's one of them little.
Oh, good eye, mate.
What's Australia?
Are you all right? Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my God.
Close. I mean, they were close. You know, just the opposite sides of the world.
Jim, give us a 12 there, lad. I can't see it. Go on. Oh, that's Christmas.
Oh my God, it's worse. It's actually
there's colours at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean that, lad.
Yeah,
chunky knits. It's chunky knit season, guys.
Yeah, it's a Christmas jumper though, yeah?
No, it's not. I mean, it can pass. I'll give you that. I did think that when I pulled it out, I thought, they're going to say, I do have Christmas jumpers and they do look very similar, but, you know, give or take.
Lads, I was in the WhatsApp group this morning. Well, it was going about me the daily business, as I normally do, Monday morning, sorting out my week and whatever. And then our WhatsApp group turned into, it was like I was in a WhatsApp group with Alan Titchmarsh this morning. You two fucking comparing gardens, Tank on his tractor. I tell you what, Tank, you were giving the lawn the last cut before the winter, you were telling us.
Yeah, a little winter cut, mate. And I thought, when I was doing it, I just thought of my fucking special cardigan friend Jimmy. I thought I'm going to leave him a message here.
Mate, if you're,
I nearly broke down as I was leaving it. I'd have to do 2 takes,
I'd have loved it if your tractor broke down as you were giving me grief. I'm like Kevin Keegan. I'd have loved it.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? I don't think I've ever seen Tank as happy as when he's on that tractor.
It's because he's away from the missus, isn't he? He's got a bit of time to himself.
You love it.
It's my special place.
Yeah, whenever you're in the best form, you've always been around that tractor. So I think the petition should just
maybe we should do the podcast from it.
Keep him on the tractor.
Podcast.
That's it. Right. So football, lads. Before we dive into the meatier topics, because there's been a few over the last week. Tank, you must have been delighted with Forest. Good win, and I think you're 1 win away from Bournemouth, who are, I think, in 14th place. So a lot can change very quickly.
Listen, I said this from day dot. Forest are going to need time to get all of these plays gelled together. And the World Cup coming, I think, is only going to benefit Forest again. I think you look at Forest's last 5 results, they're really good,
Yeah.
They're really good. They picked like a draw up away at Brighton. Couple of beat Liverpool. Obviously, who did they beat? They beat Palace. They beat Spurs in the Cup. A little bit of momentum's building. The last 5 results have been really, really good, and I'm fucking buzzing.
What do you put it down to?
It's just the team gelling. I mean, we all went on about how many signings that they had, and they did make many, many signings, but I always felt that they made some good signings as well. Gibbs White, for me, I really, really like this kid. I think, forget the price tag. This kid, he's got that little bit of fucking je ne sais quoi about him. He's got it, and he's like,
what have you had this morning?
He's defo had a bang, lad. He's had his end away. He's fucking flying.
Have you had a bit this morning, Tank? Because you and the missus, like, why are you so sprightly today?
No, fucking just listen.
He's had a wank.
Listen, Forest are flying, Liverpool are winning, my horses are winning. It's fucking good.
And his crypto's
fucking on the up.
Crypto's flying.
You wouldn't believe the amount of people we've had that are like, is everything all right with Tank? Like, what's going on with his Twitter profile? Like, all of a sudden, he's fucking coming out with these crypto tips.
That's it, lad.
To be fair, you were telling me about it, weren't you? You're mad into it.
I've been into it for like 2 years now, mate. I just never really just kept it to myself a little bit. But I got approached by.
Can you go back to that?
I got approached by like a top fella who's in the space and just said to me, "Look, we wouldn't mind you getting involved."
A top fella who's in space, Elon.
Who's in? That's what you can say, in that space. So he's a bit of a genius at it, and he's asked me to get on board with his new token what they're launching next year, and it's exciting times, to be honest. So yeah.
Fair play to you, mate. Jim, what are you into? Like, Tank's got his crypto and his horses. Like, you're a golf man, bit of
I'm
a
a
golf man.
golfer, yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
golfer, but that's what.
And I'm
that's
asking
what
you this like I don't know, and I haven't been.
No, I know. I was going to say pretty much every day for the last 14 years. But yeah, golf for me at the minute is my big passion. I love it. Fucking do it through work. It's great.
Oh, we are. Why are we vibrating? Who's
I
turned
don't know,
on?
why
Something
are we?
No, my phone's in there in the other room.
Sounds like there's an echo coming from you, Jim.
There's a what?
An echo. Oh, tis.
A what?
Try again there, Jim. Go on.
How's it going there, lad? All
yeah,
right.
we're back now.
Yeah. So I love it. So getting to play more. I've got a sore neck and back though, but I'm not sure what from. I think it might be carrying this podcast to them record-breaking numbers,
Do you know what? I was waiting for him to get that in. You've done well.
I was sort of that in the shower, and I thought, oh, can't wait for him to ask me how I am. I say, I've got a sore neck and back, and then you never even fucking asked me to do tank bumming cryptocurrency and Elon Musk.
Tell you what, fair play to you, though, Jim. Yeah, for those that don't know, I sent on a graph of the podcast numbers to the lads there the other day, and we'd had it was about a year off, I think, it's 6 months off anyway in 2021. And then the numbers have gone through the roof, and we're now better than ever. And Jimmy has taken sole responsibility for that, aren't you, Jim? Sole credit.
Don't lie.
Rightly so.
Stats don't lie.
So, I was trying to think of a clever segue from stats into Cristiano Ronaldo, but I actually can't think of one. So, Tank, I want to talk to you about Cristiano Ronaldo because, it's been a strange turn of events. Well, not strange because it's exactly the type of thing that you could imagine him doing, to be honest. But yeah, I suppose it doesn't become any less shocking when you see that he's basically laid everything on the line. He's ripped everyone in the vicinity. So club, manager, pretty much anyone that he could throw weight towards or shade towards. He's done that. I mean, we spoke last week or it might have been the week before last talking about him being badly treated by United. And I still agree with that point. But this isn't a good look for him, is it?
No, he's fucked up. But he's not fucked up because he's meant it. So it's not as this is all. It's a shit house way as well, by the way. And I think it shows what type of character he is because he's done this when he's joining up with his national team. Do you know what I mean? He should have.
Said it and legged it.
Yeah,
I think he ran away, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's dropped a bomb and well, I'll see you in fucking a month, whatever. When it's going to be the January transfer window and he's not going to be there because it's impossible for him to go back. But he should have done this early on in the season. I thought he was treated shocking, to be honest with you, by United and the manager. He was outstanding for them last season, top goal scorer, fucking won them many games, many points. But we said on this podcast before the season started, he should have been allowed to say thanks, but no thanks, go and join another club. But they've left it, and it's kind of like this is United's own doing. But what he's done is, for me, is fucking just scandalous. He's threw everyone under the bus, and to even go down to the fucking chef.
Yeah, I've seen the chef.
Still the same chef. Fucking hell, what have I done?
Imagine if you're the chef there getting up in the morning, Sky Sports News comes on, and then all of a sudden he's fucking.
All I'm doing is cooking some chickens, and fucking hell, what do you want me to do?
I mean, you're spitting in his food if he comes back, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Big Baron Green back in his pasta.
There's no way back for him, Jim, is there?
No, he's and he's known what he's done. Look, he's done what he's done, and the way he's done it is horrendous. And what Tank said is basically, said it and ran off to the World Cup, hoping to come back and be gone by the 1st of January because they'll start the ball rolling now if they can. I mean, in theory, if he's that pissed off, then if they just cancel his contract and he agrees not to be paid up, everyone wins, don't they? But he's not going to do that. He's going to want his money. United are going to want it. So it's still in a difficult place. But as I said on Twitter, my biggest issue in this is he's done the fucking interview with Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan is just as big a bellend as him. So now he's fucking on cloud nine because he's got this world exclusive that everyone's talking about. I do with anyone but him, and that's what.
Piers Morgan and the Sun. I didn't realise he'd released the
Yeah,
exclusive as well to the
the
Sun.
Sun
Could
as
you
well.
have a
Like,
worse combination there?
no. I mean, it's fucking it. That is the biggest, and that is put him right down in my mind. Not what he said. Look, you can get pissed off and say stuff and be really, and he was treated badly. But who you say it to, and if you fucking mates with Piers Morgan, then you're a bellend to me, and it's certainly gone down in my estimation.
Who
Funny,
touches him now?
I was just going to say to you, Tank, that was my next question is, I think, is there an element here, and he was unbelievable in terms of numbers, right, last season. But when you look at the games that he started, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, and for the record, I think he's had an absolute stinker. I do think United, like we've said many times, treated him poorly, and it could have all been avoidable, right? But if I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to look at it and say, okay, Ten Hag made him captain against Aston Villa. He brought him back into the team after he'd spat his dummy out. Not a lot of managers would do that, but he brought him back into the team, made him captain. But he hasn't delivered on the pitch when he's been given opportunities, and Manchester United do not look as good as a football team. So I think what's being forgotten about in all of this is Ten Hag has a job to get the best out of Manchester United, not protect Cristiano Ronaldo's brand. So is there an element here, Tank, where I don't want to say he's got ideas above his station, because it's Cristiano Ronaldo and he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. So if there was ever someone to have those ideas above the station, he would be well within his rights. But, his powers aren't what they once were. He's not been performing on the pitch. So who is going to take a punt on him now?
So you probably hit the nail on the head there, Jamie, because if this was Cristiano Ronaldo of 3-4 years ago, then you could say, well, yeah, listen, there's going to be a host of clubs to taking him. But no, he's 36, is he 37? And so he's obviously, he's been an unbelievable player, one of the best to ever play the game, but he's in decline, obviously. But not only is he in decline, what manager's going to touch him after he's just done an interview like that, where he's threw the manager under the bus, the CEO, the sporting director, the fucking cleaners, the gym equipment, the tech equipment, the fucking chef. I mean, he only does a little bit of beans on toast, and the chef's been thrown under the bus. So who's going to touch him? Because if you are a manager, and let's get it right, these top managers, unless you're like the Klopps and the Pep Guardiolas, I'd say most below that, they're only 3 or 4 games away from being under severe pressure. Look at Graham Potter now. There's talks about him getting the fucking sack.
Hold that thought. We've got one of the topics. One of the topics is the sack race, so we'll definitely come back to that.
So, but to Ronaldo, if a manager's under a bit of pressure, you are not touching him with a barge pole. Not because the package is absolutely fucking astronomical. But what he brings now and what he's done, for me, I think he's going to be very lucky to get a club.
The issue you've got is clubs. His clubs will take him because of his commercial appeal. So a manager might not have a say in it, in terms of a club taking him. Because if he's on a free,
I think that's what happened to United then, Jim. Because he made a comment that people didn't want him last year.
I think it's 50-50. Like, you've got a choice. Let's bring Ronaldo back. We're going to make all our money back regardless of what we pay him. You're going to make your money back in shirt sales and whatnot and endorsements and. If he fits into the team, great. But I don't think anyone anticipated it turning this sour as it has. And Ten Hag's the one who's been left holding the baby. So he's got to now get rid of him. But I think he turns up somewhere. I think if they agree to cancel his contract.
Where's that somewhere? Because I'm
Chelsea's shouting out to me, lad. I think Chelsea's stupid enough to take a punt.
No way, you can't.
I think that Todd Bowley it's not a football decision. I think he'll do it on a commercial decision. But if not, I think he might go back to Juventus and take a pay cut, but just do it or the only other thing I can think of is he goes to America just to try and.
But then, because I'm similar to you, Jim, I thought, maybe the American thing, or like, would he completely ruin Eddie credibility and go and play in Saudi Arabia or something for 10 million a game or something? But the thing I think that still drives him, to his credit, is he's a machine that wants numbers. He wants Champions League football and he wants to score goals at the highest level. So does that mean he's ultimately got to go for a Champions League club?
I'm not sure. I mean, I liken this to Zlatan, and Zlatan's no fucking shrinking violet, is he? He's a bit of a bellend, and he's called out Pep numerous times and all this sort of stuff.
I was all right with that, by the way.
But he's still getting a game at, well, he's not playing at Milan, and it looks like he's on his way out, but he's kind of killing his star a little bit. I read an article where people saying that because he's fell out with a few of the AC Milan players and stuff like that. So, he's still getting games.
He's
But he fell out with a new lad that Chalahan. I don't know how to say his name. The Turkish guy, Chalahan.
Yeah, this makes a change.
Change my name to Chalahan.
But however you say his name, they fell out together, and so it was. It wasn't. He's not doing himself any favors, but he's still getting picked up. He went to LA Galaxy in his last time, came back to AC Milan, won Serie A. So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I think, when you're looking there at sort of monumental signings and you're thinking there, Jimmy, talking about, potentially ruining reputations and the likes, it must be a tough situation for Man United fans now, because they've adored this fella. They've welcomed him back with open arms. And for me, it's just sad to see a player of this stature undo a lot of the great work and the memories that he's made. Look, I don't give a bollocks ultimately because I'm a Liverpool fan, but as a football fan, I think it's just an unnecessary situation that they all could and probably should have avoided. I want to start off with, well, actually, I'm going to leave that till the end because we're going to talk England in a little bit, right? And so Tank touched on it there. The sack race, and you mentioned Graham Potter. And for me, it's interesting. We're at this stage of the season, and based on results so far this season, I think there is potentially 3 managers in the sack race at the moment. And Tank, I'll come to you first. You mentioned Graham Potter there at Chelsea. I would say Frank Lampard at Everton and David Moyes at West Ham. And I want to start with you on Graham Potter because you brought him up before. I'm looking at this as an outsider coming in. I always think as a new manager, you don't want to change too much too soon. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to make too many radical changes. Get your senior pros on side and then start to make subtle tweaks. It seems like Graham Potter's done a lot of tinkering. It's not probably gone down well. I know he likes to play a lot of different in-game formations, and maybe the transition from what they used to be like to what he wants them to be like has not been as smooth and plain sailing as he'd expected. It's been a strange settling in period for him because I'm a massive fan of Graham Potter. We spoke at length about potentially, the thoughts of him coming to Liverpool, maybe if Klopp had left, but they just haven't really sparked into life under him so far.
I don't think, look at what I think Chelsea's transfer window in the summer was shit. And I think it's coming to fruition. The lad from Brighton, the left back. Now, I know he had on his numbers and all of that, but he had one good season at Brighton. And to go and pay 60 million for him is just totally fucking bizarre. I just think it's a very, very strange signing. Koulibaly was another one for me where everyone goes on about how good he was, but no one actually ever wanted him, did they? No one actually pushed the boat out to go and sign him. And I've read a few things about what Benitez said about him. The reason why no one top club signed him, because he's got at least 2 ricks in him per game. So, that's another big money signing. And then was Sterling, I thought Sterling, to be honest, was a great signing. But it's looking like Pep kind of done a bit of a masterstroke because it looks like he's kind of on the decline a little bit. Yeah, and it's kind of like he's come in and he's tried to fit these players in to a system where, Sterling's not a wing back, is he? As long as he's got a hole in his ass. Yeah. And to play him there, it's kind of like, if you don't want to play Sterling, just don't play him. Just don't try and fit him into somewhere where it's like totally alien to him.
But again, as a senior pro as well, Tank, if he's asking, and Sterling has and will do the job, but he came out, I think, in an interview and said, well, it's not my favourite position. You know what I mean?
And that's why he fell out of Liverpool, wasn't it? Because they were playing in wing back.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I think when he will probably think, Raheem Sterling, look, I've done enough in my career now to know where my best position is, and then all of a sudden you're trying to turn me into a wing back. It just seems like, I don't want to say unrest, but I just think the golden rule, and you'll know better than me, having been in the dressing rooms, keep your senior pros on side. You've got a big money signing that's come in there. Don't start asking him to do something that he's not comfortable with and playing in a position that he hasn't played. I don't know. It just seems a little strange.
Well, it is. I mean, look what the senior pros done at United. Look what Ronaldo's done. He's fucked it. They can kill a manager. They can send you under. And that's the problem that you've got. You do have to get them on side. But if you're not, there's got to be like a happy medium with it, because Ronaldo's fucking finished United and just destroyed everyone. And I don't know. There's something not right with Chelsea there. And I really like him as a manager. I think he's absolutely exceptional. We said on this podcast, I said I was gutted that he went to Chelsea, because I would have loved him to spend another year or 2 years at Brighton and possibly take over from Klopp. But when this American owner's already proven that he won't take no shit, I mean, he'll just fucking make changes.
I was going to say, Jim, is he at risk of getting a bullet, or is it just far too soon?
I'd like to think not, given that he's not long been in the post. But as Tank said, I think this Todd Bowley could be a bit erratic.
Trigger happy.
Yeah. Now the issue I've got in that there's two things. One is that look at his Brighton side, and they're still flying, aren't they? And that's his side still, because the new gaffer's come in and not changed anything, and they've still got the same players, and they're doing really well, playing the same sort of system. So he's got that going for him, and he's come into a team. He had no input in terms of signings and who he wants, and he's got to get them to mould in, and that's going to take time. Say with Conte at Tottenham, it took him a bit of time to get his stamp on it. Now, the biggest thing
time though, Jim.
This is my thing. Like on the flip side, at the weekend, big game away to Newcastle, flying. And he drops Cucurella, who's been playing as a centre-back and not a wing-back, and puts in the young lad from the academy. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, is that... I don't think Cucurella's been playing that many games where they've gone, oh, we need to rest him. I don't know if he had that... Well, I don't think he's in... Is he in the Spain squad? I don't think he is. So it's not like he's got the Sterling migraine and everyone else mysterious illness before the World Cup. But, to start the young lad and kick Cucurella in the balls like that, I'd be fuming. So, is he trying to do Steven Gerrard and change things and put his stamp on? I don't know. He's on... What you've got when you're at a big club is you're always, no matter where, you're always on thin ice with anything you do. And that's the balance, and that's where a lot of managers struggle to going from a Everton, Brighton to a Chelsea, Man United. Not many managers have gone and taken them big clubs on.
Yeah, the extra weight of the expectation weighs heavy on a lot of the managers' shoulders. Talking
elite players as well, aren't they? Elite. I'm not saying Brighton players aren't elite, but there's levels. And
who'd you call elite in that Chelsea squad, Jim?
I'm not saying elite. I'm saying from a reputation point of view, like the players at Brighton will be well molded into what he wants to do, and they're not the type of players to go, I'm not doing that because I'm X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Where if you go to Raheem Sterling, Pulisic's struggling, he doesn't want to be there. Cucurella, Koulibaly, you'll go, right, I need you to do this, and they go, nah. Seemingly they're just going because of what they feel their reputation is. So that's the difference from going from a small club to a Champions League club.
Frank Lampard, Tank, you've been very outspoken on your views on Frank, and I've got a foot, I suppose, in both camps, as have you, Jimmy, because obviously you're married to a Blue, but the Blue side of my family always would say, like, they'd say to me, like, he just gets us. Frank gets us. He gets the Blues, and that's this line that I keep hearing it being peddled out whenever they talk about him. And I was quite complimentary to start the season because I actually thought he'd made them look more solid. I thought Tarkowski and Cody were good signings, and they looked a much more solid outfit. And I'm always a big believer that, if you want to build a house, you got to build it on strong foundations. And it seemed like he was starting to build in a more solid core, but they seem to be going backwards.
They don't from day one, Jamie. I've called it on this podcast. I think they're getting relegated this side. Did you see the stat the other week? This stage of the season, Rafa Benitez had 18 points and he had 1.2 million. That was his transfer budget. He's got 14 points and he's had a transfer budget this season of 120 million. He's an absolute bluffer. And if they don't sack him before the World Cup's over, they're going to get relegated. Connor Cody could not get in the Wolves side. Couldn't get in it. He was surplus to requirements and they signed him. Tarkowski is what he is, what he says in the tin, but he come from a side who's fought relegation every season and got relegated and got peppered with goals last season, and that's your centre-half pairing. And it's just simply, you know, they get away with it for a few games and they might make blocks and challenges. We've had this in our WhatsApp group. I still think they've got a shit keeper in goal with no arms. I don't think he's good enough. So when you've got them three there, for me, you've got major, major problems. And I don't get all of this bollocks that Frank gets us. He doesn't get you. He's a fucking Tory from London. How does he get the scouts? He's nothing like Everton fans. Nothing like them at all. They're in massive trouble.
You know what's funny? You say that, you know, we're talking about the sack race, and you know, Frank obviously managing Everton. I think there's an opportunity there for Everton. If you said to me now, and again, outside of looking in, you got Sean Dyche sat there, right, out of a job.
No one's taking Dyche on, though,
I find it mad, especially thank you.
I'm sure he's interviewed for the jobs, but no one seems to be taking him
he didn't
on.
need to interview for the Everton job because I think he was, what was he on? I seen him on something. Talk Sports, and he basically was like, he basically said, well, I was never phoned, but wink, wink, flash me knickers, give us a bell, Everton.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, lads, I mean, thank you. Tonk, I think I just called you Tonk.
Honky Tonk, man.
Honky Tonk. You spoke at length about I suppose the narrative to the outside world around Sean Dyche and how it's the exact opposite in terms of how he's very analytical, you know, his attention to detail. And I, if you look at this now from a purely footballing perspective, Everton fans, let us know once you listen to this if you think this is right. Second half of the season now, who gets Everton more points, Frank Lampard or Sean Dyche? Sean Dyche all day long.
Yeah. I disagree with Tank and I disagree with Dyche, and I think Lampard's killed his reputation.
How can you disagree with me?
No. It's
just by default that time.
No. Listen, if you give me a second. Everton up till this weekend had one of the best defenses in the Premier League. Their issue is they can't score. They can't score goals. So if you can't score goals, you're never going to win games. So they've lost 3-0 at the weekend, and it's put them their goals against column to 17 when it was 14 before. They had one of the best. So Cody, Tarkowski, Patterson, and Mikolenko and Pickford. I think I've been, and ask any Everton fan, as I say, I sit with my father-in-law regularly and talk around it, and he's really impressed with what they've done for the club. Now, what he's not impressed with is that they can't score goals.
As a son-in-law.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, he's got it.
That's a given.
What could have been. But no, Everton can't score goals. So if you can't score goals, you're never going to win games. So his stock was high with Everton fans. I'd be very surprised it is after this week, because they've gone to Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup or whatever it's called these days. Put out a shit team when he could have put a strong team out and got battered. Thought he was saving himself for the Premier League. Gone out there at the weekend and got absolutely battered again. So I think he's back to he's struggling now.
Is that fair, Tank?
No, I don't think that. What are Everton? Because I've got plenty of mates and all of that, but they hounded Sam Allardyce out of the club like he was the devil's child, and they've never had it so good under Allardyce. They were scoring goals, they were difficult to beat, and they were fighting for European slots under Sam Allardyce. But it wasn't good enough. It's never enough for them, and they hounded them out. Sam Allardyce will go in there and do a 10 times better job than Frank Lampard right now with that squad. Sean Dyche will go in there and transform them, and he'd finish mid-table without a shadow of a doubt, with a little bit of backing in the transfer market and his organisation skills. I don't think Frank Lampard's a coach. I'll be brutally honest with you. And when he done well at Chelsea, he had Jody Morris. Jody Morris, who's meant to be an exceptional coach with his detail and his on the grass. And he's lost him. And I think it's now that's come to fruition. It's a similar thing to Gerrard. When Gerrard was at Villa, he lost the lad who's at QPR, Michael Beale, who's an outstanding coach. And when you lose someone that good who's on the grass and putting what your thoughts are into practice, it's a very difficult thing to turn around. I just think he's a bit of a bluffer as a manager. And Everton are in massive trouble if they don't get shut.
How does it play out?
I think Moyes gets the sack first.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
That's been a strange drop off, because they were good last season. They've got big
He's
players.
spent big,
They've
haven't they?
signed people. They've signed
Spent
people.
big, and that's what I think will go against him is the money he's spent, because obviously when they brought him back, they were struggling. He's come in and their stock's gone, and I think, and then they've given money to spend to go on and push, because they were doing well in the Europa League and whatnot, and it's seemingly gone backwards. I think they've got to lose Rice, and from Rice's perspective, he has to go this summer if he wants to do anything within. He's got to go.
How
He
old are you now,
goes.
Jimmy?
I'm not quite sure, mate. To be honest, I'd say mid 20s, 23, 24, maybe.
Might be.
And then that's going to make the situation worse. So I think
23.
Moyes goes before anyone else.
How old?
23.
23, 24.
By the way, just as if I was Liverpool, I would be all over Declan.
If I was any Premier League club in the top 6, I'd be all over Declan Rice. I think he goes to Chelsea because of his connection with Mason Mount. But
don't fucking what? Jesus Christ! Don't encourage him. Our faces as soon as you said Mason Mount, we all went. Oh.
I know. But that's where I think he goes to. So but if I'm United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, I'm trying to sign Declan Rice.
Oh, Arsenal, are they the team that's gone 5 points clear at the top, where I predicted to win the league last week? Yes, Jamie, next.
Are you still sticking by that prediction, yeah?
Fucking right, I am, yeah. And I think they're strengthening in the summer. And have you seen some of the snippets coming out of Man City today that he's flying over to the Middle East to have talks about possibly not extending his term? There's little fucking ructions going on at Man City, boys, let me tell you.
Because it's funny, you look like City are brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but I've always had this theory in my head. Now it takes an incredibly brave football team to do this, and it depends what type of football team you want to be. Are you prepared to ship a goal in the risk of getting one or two? If you go at City, if you have a go at them, there's goals there, but there's only a select few teams that will try to do it. And I thought Brentford. It was a tactical masterclass, and this is my perfect segue here because I'm always planning, lads. Ivan Toney scores 2 goals, man for the big moments, wasn't selected in the England squad, which I found strange personally. I think with a 26-man squad, you could say, I don't know why it had to be Callum Wilson or Ivan Toney. I don't know why it couldn't be Callum Wilson and Ivan Toney. I
don't know how Rashford's got in. Honestly, don't know. I mean, I know you guys love him. I just don't know how he's got in above Ivan Toney. I do know why he's got in.
I agree with you on him. He's had a good 6 or 7 games, Rashford. But
I don't even think he brings count. Sorry, Jay.
No, it's all right. I love it when we get passionate, but then we all try and say the points at the same time. No, I think with the Rashford one, it's profile and what variety. I think he gives us more directness. Now I know we've got pacey players.
His pace. That's all he brings.
Yeah, it is. But generally speaking, lads, looking at the England squad, Tank, what was your reaction to the squad first and foremost? Any kind of big surprises when you're seeing it come out? And actually, we'll start that by how's the World Cup fever? Are you excited for the big event that's a week away?
Oh, because England bored the shit out of me. It's like I'm excited to watch the likes of Brazil and teams like that, and some of the African teams in it. Because I think they just go out and play football. Like it's just the best time of their lives, and it's just enjoyment. And then you'll have Gareth Southgate who play like 3 holding midfielders against Iran and 1 centre forward, and that's what Gareth Southgate has made me feel about watching England in the World Cup. I've got no interest in England in the World Cup, but I'm looking forward to watching like the South Americans and the African teams and team like France and that. So I'm sad, but that's just how I feel. England the shit, they bore me.
What about you, Jimmy? You excited?
I am actually, mate. Yeah, I must admit.
Nice for you because you've never told us who you support, but you can actually support England. There you go, England family.
England, big England fan. Followed them from day one. Yeah, I'm excited, mate. There's 2 reasons. One, I'm at home all day anyway, so I can watch the footy all day. So it's like I can watch 4 games. It's my son's first World Cup, and he doesn't need to know the. Well, it's not his first World Cup, but it's his first one that he'll probably remember.
You got the cutout World Cup cutouts and all that for the.
We
for the
haven't.
game.
We need to get. I'm ordering one today off Amazon. Our little world wall chart. And we can fill it in each day. So he's not bothered about bloody Qatar's human rights records and stuff like that. So why would he? He's 8 years old. He doesn't need to know. So they're the reasons why I'm excited. Obviously, it's shit that it's in Qatar. I can't do anything about that now. So I love watching the World Cup, regardless of whether it's in summer, winter, wherever. I would prefer it not to be in Qatar, and I prefer it to be in the summer, of course, but I'm still excited.
Good lad. Tank, what did you make of the squad?
The one that really surprised me was Conor Gallagher. I don't really see what he's done to get in a World Cup squad, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I'm like, I know he's not a bad player, and Jimmy made a good point about him. I think it was last week, was it, Jimmy, or was that in our WhatsApp group, where he does press high and he's got energy. But so to get in the World Cup squad now, you've just got to press high and have energy. I just think I'm not too sure why we've took him, to be honest with you, and I'm shocked at the amount of players who are out of form or injured, and he selected them. It's just strange for me. Maguire, bizarre one, totally bizarre one, but. He's just a strange guy. He picks no one on current form, does he?
I think this has been my issue, Jim, is that when you're looking at it, he's come out in the past, and I put out newspaper articles and on the Twitter accounts where it was, I'm only going to focus on players that are in form, and it's the lack of consistency, because you Calvin Phillips hasn't played, Harry Maguire.
Calvin Phillips not in it though, is he?
What?
Is Phillips in it?
Yeah,
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's in, yeah. Then you're looking at Harry Maguire. Not only has he not played when he's been terrible and he's been out of form. And then I've seen, but he's done great for England. It's like, well, hold on. What's the criteria? You're going back to a long period of time to justify a selection now. What does that say to other centre-backs? I get that there's always going to be, like, if Harry Kane was struggling for form, he's still getting picked. Like, I get it. There's certain players that will always get in it, and that's just the way of the world. But Harry Maguire is not one of those. He's playing really bad. Like, he's not playing well, and hasn't for a sustained period of time. And I'd go as far as saying, if he plays at centre-back, he will cost England. Never mind this talk about Trent. You'd think that Trent is playing games with a blindfold on, the way that people are going. You got me in a rant now. So just side step here. Gary Neville talking about not trusting Trent in knockout games. He was talking about, again, he's going to cost us. He's going to cost us. We said it last week. Trent has been part of a Liverpool team that has won the elite knockout competition in world football, not been exposed, and been 1v1 versus the best attackers in the world. So it's garbage. Why are they not saying this about Pickford, who threw the ball at a Bournemouth player at the weekend? Eric Dyer's made mistakes for Tottenham. There's never, ever the same push for individual England players that are making mistakes like Trent. So fuck you, Gary Neville. It started to annoy me.
That's just a United Liverpool thing, isn't it? But from an England point of view, I really like that squad. Apart from a couple, Harry Maguire should be nowhere near the squad. If I'm Tamori sitting at home, I'm thinking, what the fuck else do I need to do here? I really like the inclusion of Conor Gallagher, only in that, like you say, I think if we're behind, you get Conor Gallagher on and he does that thing where you just run around like a headless chicken and he'll drag everyone along with him. Yeah, exactly. But that's what happens, though, isn't it? And that's, there's a reason why managers pick these players. There's a reason why Tite has picked Richarlison over Firmino, because he brings something that he likes. Now, no, but Neymar, everyone else scores. So if he does what he needs to do in that squad, then he does what he needs to do. So my point is, if we're 2-1 down against USA, you chuck Conor Gallagher on, he's going to be running around, he's going to get the ball back, and what that does, it drags everyone along with them. And everyone else starts chasing. It happened against Germany. We brought Saka on, we brought the wingers on, the young lads, and we started hounding the ball, and then we scored 2 or 3 goals.
Should be doing that from the start, though. We shouldn't be.
I know, I get that, but the team you pick, you expect to do that anyway. But we all know, we've all played in games where things don't go your way, and substitutes make the difference. Now, Conor Gallagher is never going to start for England. But what he does bring is that energy when you chuck someone on 65 minutes, 2-1 down, right, go and hound them, get the ball, and then everyone else just gets dragged into it along the way. So I really like the inclusion. I feel sorry for Tony. I don't know what Moy could do. Like you say, I don't even think he brings Callum Wilson off the bench. The players he brings on is Rashford. He'll bring Rashford on. So I'm thinking, like, what? I don't know what his plan is. Kane will stay on till the very end, and Rashford will come on and greet, and they'll bring the wingers on, and But we've got Tony who's leading the line, scoring goals. I think Tony could get ahead of Kane at the moment. Tony plays as how I want a centre forward to play. 2 goals at the weekend. Header in the 6-yard box, tapping from the 6-yard box. Get the 2 wingers, Foden, Grealish, Saka, Sterling, putting balls in, and he'll score goals. That's how I want England to play.
And you know the other thing as well about Tony, he's a fucking absolute wizard from the penalty spot. And what are we going to be doing? What are we going to be doing over there? We're going to be taking penalties.
I mean, to be fair to Kane, he's pretty good at pens as well. But Tony is unbelievable.
This is why I think Conor Gallagher's inclusion is bizarre, because you've got one of the best penalty takers and free kick takers who's not gone on Ward-Prowse.
Oh my God! See that ball at the weekend?
It's undefendable, like.
Mate. That's what I mean. So how's he?
I think from his point of view, Southgate's thinking Trippier can do that.
Well,
Ward-Prowse hasn't got the legs. Ward-Prowse hasn't got the legs, and Trent, by the way, Trent can do that. So all you'd be doing is picking Ward-Prowse to take free kicks, and whereas Gallagher's got that young legs, and he's got the energy to go and do that like mad stuff for like 20 minutes.
I don't think he plays a minute in the tournament.
Who, Gallagher?
Yep. Don't think he plays a minute in the tournament.
The first game we're losing, I guarantee he comes on a sub.
Oh, it's a big claim, right? So we're gonna hear our starting 11s for the first game. And by the way, just so everyone knows, I'm supporting Uruguay because I cannot wait to see Luis Suarez and Darwin Núñez up front. Like that is just
they don't play together, do they?
I don't think they play. I seen something there the other day. They reckon the two of them are going to start up front for Uruguay, and I'm like, right, that's it. I'm getting a Uruguay shirt.
Absolute chaos.
Absolute chaos. Pair of absolute head the balls. Right. Who's feeling brave? Who wants to go first with their starting 11 for the first game versus Iran? Are you ready, Jim? You feeling it?
Yeah, I've gone.
I'm not cardigan off for this.
No. This is on. This is a Gareth Southgate cardigan. This lad. It's like his waistcoat. So I've gone 4-2-3-1. I know he won't play that, and he'll play 3 centre backs and about 8 holding midfielders. But this is what I've gone for.
Yeah. So this is your team.
This is my team. If I'm Gaffer first game, I've gone Pickford in goal.
There's your problem straight away.
Now I've been umming and ahhing at right back.
Just get your team out.
Say the team.
Come on.
I wrote 3 names down, so I've gone Trippier.
Well, you can't have 3 right backs.
No. You've got
no. I wrote 3 different people down there, and then.
So which one did you pick?
Trippier.
Okay, right.
There you go.
Ben White.
Yeah.
Stones. Shaw.
Yeah.
Jude and Declan.
Yeah.
We're mates, you see. So
first name terms, all right, the boys. Yeah.
Gone Saka on the right. Foden on the left. Maddison down the middle.
Oof, Jimmy's fucking going all out, balls to the wall.
And I've gone Kane up top, obviously.
Surprised, but that's actually not too. I'm all right with that team, Jim.
Mate, that's a good team. James Maddison gets that team playing with Foden coming in and dropping out. Oh, mate, that is one mad team. That you fucking wouldn't know where anyone's going. Saka just fucking all over the place.
That's spoken like a true attacking flair.
Yeah, mate. I want my wingers interchanging. I want them switching over. I want them dropping in. I want them getting wide. I want Kane to stay up fucking front. Don't move out the box, you knobhead. And we're all good. We're winning the World Cup.
I'm impressed, Jim. And you know it's good because you didn't get too many protests from Tank. Tank was like, I
switched off after he picked 3 full-backs, 3 right-backs. I've got Trippier, Trent and White.
I haven't gone Trent, you knob.
All right, go on, Tank. Who's yours?
This is on form and if all are fit.
Okay.
So because
you can't go that because I would have picked Walker if
I would have picked Walker.
Well, there you go. So I'm just going with the squads, and if you're in the squad, you're fit, or you fucking shouldn't be there. So the team that I've gone is I'm picking.
Well, that would change mine. That would change mine, though.
Well,
okay,
that's up to you. Leave it. Here's my team now. I picked the goalkeeper because he's got arms. So I picked Pope.
Oh my
Right.
God, he's fucking letting
I've got
goals
3
in.
at the back. I've gone Walker, Stones, White, Trent right wing back, Trippier left wing back, Rice and Phillips holding, with Bellingham, Maddison behind Kane.
So, a couple of things there, Tank. So
We ain't
Trippier on the
scoring.
left. Yeah,
You're not
Trippier.
scoring.
We ain't scoring in that. We've got no. It's too narrow. Trippier's cutting inside every fucking time.
Cutting in, and Phillips hasn't played, and you've
Well,
gone against your own
this
thing
is what
here.
I mean. This is why I picked. These are all fit in my head. If you're
That
in
is
the World
shit
Cup
team.
squad, you've got to be fit. So I've got Rice and Phillips holding. I've got Bellingham doing fucking bombing on for fun. Maddison creating carnage. You've got Trippier and Trent, who were 2 of the best crosses in the box.
They'll be fighting over who's taking the free kicks.
That's all right, as long as they fucking score, don't matter.
Yeah,
And I've got the fucking water boy as well, Conor Gallagher. He's bringing the water on for the lad.
6 out of 10, that team. That's awful.
I'm surprised that you put Phillips in there. Let me say this. I definitely have Walker.
To be fair, if Phillips, well, I wouldn't.
Phillips
But if Phillips was fit, I'd have him in and around. He'd be close. But he's not getting over Jude and Rice on the whole.
No, I've got Jude's in there. I've got Jude.
No, I know.
My midfield 3 is Rice, Phillips, which for me, that frees up Bellingham to go and do what he does.
Yeah, different slants from me. So if Walker was fit, Walker would be playing right-sided centre back. But in the absence of him, first game of the season, I actually went with a slightly different back 3.
You gone back 3 as well against Iran?
Well,
that's what
in an ideal world I'd go 4, but I don't trust our centre backs, to be honest, mate. I don't know. I feel like it's an area.
Oh, I think we're conceding goals in my team, but we're scoring 85, so it don't matter.
Yeah. See, so I went. You've gone very attacking. My back 3 was Trippier on the right hand side, because I think he could easily transition and do that. He's a good leader. You've got him
in class for Newcastle, mate.
Yeah. He's been superb, but I think he could do that really well. And because I'm going to play Trent at right wing back, he would cover the space on the right hand side and just allow Trent to go further forward. If you've got Kane up front, you have to have Trent. If you're going to play a back 3, play Trent. Now that Walker, what's his name, your man from Chelsea, the lad, Reece James. Now he's not there. Play Trent right wing back and try and get him offensively up the pitch. So I've gone Trippier, Stones, and White as my 3. It would be Walker in place of Trippier if he was fit. Shaw left. I know what you mean, Tank, about putting in Trippier, but I've seen it happen so many times. You know, he's gonna come inside. It's gonna make us narrow. It just, I don't know. So unfortunately, I'd go Luke Shaw, even though I'm not a massive fan. I don't think you need 2 holders when you're playing a back 3. So I've got Rice sitting, and then I've got Saka, Bellingham, and Foden as the 3, and then Kane up top. And I don't ever see, if you've got those 3 centre backs that don't move and Rice in front of them, you're never going to need more people back than that. So let your wing backs play high and just have Saka, Bellingham, and Foden rotating behind Kane. I think that's
great 3. That I'll give you that.
Maddison's coming knocking on your door, lad.
But you know what, Maddison, and I heard this term the other day. It's probably been used, and I've never paid attention to it. But rather than a substitute, we use it with the team we coach, the under 10, a finisher, under 11s, a finisher. I think Maddison would be a great finisher. So coming on, picking up the pockets once the game's opened up a little bit. I feel like Foden, Saka, and Bellingham as a 3 that are rotating. Bellingham further forward. I don't want him sat next to Rice, babysitting Rice.
Oh. Bellingham, you don't need to. If I'm playing a 4, so you got Rice sitting in front of that 4. Got Shaw and Trippier can bomb on, which ultimately Rice drops him to defenders, make it a 3. You've got Jude and Maddison able to interchange who's going forward. They both can go if they want. Obviously, Shaw and Trippier, one can hold if the other one's going. Saka, Foden causing mayhem, and Kane just fucking knocking balls in for fun.
So, Tank, what team does Southgate pick? So we've done ours. We've all got an offensive, we've gone way more offensive than he, but what do you actually think he'll start with?
I think the team he'll start with will be Maguire, Stones, White as a back 3. Pickford will be in goal. He will have...
Oh, I didn't say my keeper.
Oh, no. Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. Ramsdale. I'd go Ramsdale.
Yeah, fair point. Well, yeah, I think he'll go Shaw left wing back. I think he'll go Trippier right wing back. He'll have Rice and Bellingham. I don't know whether he'll try and get Henderson in there until
I did
Philip
think
gets
so.
fit. I think he
No.
will. I don't think he should, Jimmy, but I think he will.
He won't.
And I think he will have Foden off Kane. And do you know who none of us have mentioned, by the way? And for me, he's still footballer's biggest fraud. And we've
Grealish.
not even mentioned about bringing him on a sub. We've gone Gallagher ahead of Grealish.
Yeah.
Nah, Grealish comes on as sub for me, but I think Foden and
But what I mean is, no one's even put him anywhere near
for
the
a 100
I would.
million
It
player.
was close. I think he's so. He starts the next game for me. If I put this team out on Foden and Saka have ran themselves since the game, I think he starts the next game. But I think he can come. He's like
I think he's lucky
Homo
to be in the
said.
squad.
No, he's.
I think he's lucky to be in the squad. He's offered absolutely nothing this season for Man City.
Do you know what he brings? And it's funny saying this because I loved watching him for Villa because he played with freedom. He was so
I think it's
creative.
different for England.
He does. So what I love about Jack Grealish, and when I say this, I also know it doesn't necessarily marry up with how Pep wants people to play, but you can give Grealish the ball in any scenario with as many people around him and he'll keep the ball. Now, I know the next part of this is, well, for 100 million, you need more than that. And yeah, that's a totally fair point. But I also think he's worth his weight in gold in that you can trust him so much to recycle the ball, keep it. If you're 60 minutes and you need to keep the game tight for a little bit, or you just need someone to give you a little bit of relief, go give him the ball and he'll draw in 2-3 defenders. And then he does that little clever pop round the corner. And if you've got your runners like your Sakas or your Fodens running in behind, I think he can be worth his weight in gold. But it's an interesting question, Tank, because what justifies 100 million price tag? Like we say this about all players now. You know, Declan Rice is probably going to go for something somewhere in the region of 100 million. You know, the price tags these days.
Games, Sonny Rice, Jamie. He affects games. I thought him when he was at Anfield. It was kind
when
of
Thiago went off. He was very good.
You're like, wow. He just kind of like Henderson and Fabinho just couldn't get near him, and he was just like squatting them aside and going. And you kind of like,
lucky to be in that squad, by the way.
Now I get it. But I watch Grealish for Man City, and it's just like he gets the ball in good areas, he keeps the ball, and then he just goes back to his fullback or goes back to his holding midfield, and you're like, not even the price tag. It just you want to see more from him. You don't see anything from him. I mean, I said use that thing about the stats. He's got 8 goals in like 60 games for Man City. It's not enough.
Is that by design though, Tank? As in, is Pep asking him to play like that, or do you? Because he seemed way more direct. He seems way more direct when he played for Villa and he's played for England.
Well, you used to watch him for Villa. I mean, I actually like that. I liked the lad as a player. I used to think he was brilliant at Villa, and he played with a bit of arrogance and swagger, and he wouldn't be arsed if he took someone on and he lost the ball. It'd be okay. Someone would win it back and give him it again. I watch him at Man City, and just like, you could go and sign 30 players in the Premier League from anyone, and they'll do exactly the same of what he's doing right now, which is the grand total of not a great deal.
Jim, to finish up, what's your predictions for the World Cup? As in, who do you think wins it? How do you think England fare?
I think an African team wins it. You know,
go on, give us a name. Holland. Sorry,
Wales. Senegal, maybe. I think someone who's more attributed to the heat and the climate will win the World Cup. So a South America, maybe. I think an African team will do well. Yeah. I think England will do all right. If they win the group and they've got to face Germany and France, haven't they? If they go that route, so
we haven't got any redheads, have we? Have we got any redheads? Pickford looks like he's got a bit of redhead.
Yeah, Pickford's fair skinned, isn't he? But
you two lads have got a bit of redhead in you. You definitely have.
Yeah,
Tank, you got a bit of redhead in you.
I have, lad.
Fucking Jamie, look, it's as black as the fucking.
I know, but you can see it in your beard.
Lad. Look at your beard, lad.
Nah, it's a fucking hell. If I was going to dye that, I'd dye this white bastard, wouldn't I? Look at it.
You do remember that we've seen like those early photos of you playing for Tranmere Road. Like I've actually got a photo on my phone. You very red, lad.
There. I've heard that they photoshopped Paul Scholes' little ginger face on his ginger little Willie when he's playing against Wimbledon on your body, lad. That's what I heard. And his little Willie's poking out his shorts.
What's your prediction, Tank?
England get knocked out at the group stage. They don't even qualify.
Oof.
I think USA beat us.
That sounds like you think it'll be a horror show for England then, yeah?
I think we're going to have a horror. I genuinely think this is going to be a horror show. I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be a horror show for us.
And who's the winners?
Not too sure you can look past Brazil, you know.
Brazil, for me, I was looking at their squad the other day. Their forward line is just... I mean, they don't even need any defenders. Neymar, Rafinha, Richarlison. Who else? You got Vinicius Junior. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, you've got to look at them, I think, and I think Argentina will have a go as well.
Everyone's got to say, like, my son even said this to me the other day, because he's obviously he's Irish first and foremost, but he's obviously wants England to do well more for my sake, I think, than anything else. But he said to me the other day, he's like, Dad, can I ask you something? I said, what's up, mate? He goes, is it all right if I support Argentina in the World Cup? I just want Messi to win the World Cup. And there's got to be a lot of football fans that are rooting for Messi, surely, Tank.
There will be, won't it? As you say, I'd love him to win it. You know, he deserves it. It's only just to just finally put to bed that, you know, Ronaldo's not in the same league as him.
Yeah. Right, lads. With that, Jim, anything coming up this week, mate? What you up to?
Off to Leicester tonight, mate. Leicester Academy, little cheeky under nines game. So yeah, off
You're gonna change that top.
No, go like this, lads. Fucking, they love it. Everyone loves it.
What about you, Tank? Much on?
No, going to watch Jack tomorrow. He's playing Celtic tomorrow. So I'll go have a look at that.
Nice.
People game.
At Burnley or
at Burnley,
in Scotland?
Mate, yeah. It's at Burnley. Yeah.
What's that like? Is that
if it was in Scotland, Jimmy, had a left by now to charge the car.
You need to get the triple A's going, don't you?
Oh, I forgot to mention.
Out your mower.
Forgot to mention, lads. Quick one, Tank. I'm a Celebrity. You've been watching it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm finding it difficult to watch it with that cock on it. I'm being honest. I fucking despise him like more than anything in the world. I think he's the biggest cock. Yeah. And I was devastated that wasn't a poisonous Scorpio what bit him the other day.
Scorpio or Scorpion?
What's it called?
What's Scorpio. From now on, it's Scorpio, mate.
Scorpion.
Scorpion.
Someone born in July, a poisonous Scorpio. I don't know if that's what a Scorpios are. I don't know.
It never killed them because I can't stand them.
What a way to finish. Right. Lads, pleasure as always. Thank you to Brian Burgess, friend of the show, for sending in a video of Neymar doing the most unbelievable first touch. Do you see that one, Tank?
Yeah.
No?
Oh, send it on to him. Jim, how good was it?
Unbelievable.
Like, literally, the ball is in a helicopter or a plane and they drop it out the sky. Do you ever remember the one that Rooney did years ago?
Rooney on the Street Striker.
On the Street Striker. Yeah. Well, this is like that on steroids. It's like 3 times as high. And wait till you see, like, we throw some shade at Neymar, but to be honest, what a touch that was.
I bet no one else does that.
No, it's class. Anyway, right. What do I usually say at the end? I usually tell everybody to have a good week. Thank you for your support. All that
people to retweet, lad. Everyone likes the fucking. We need it to get wide. Get them retweeting.
That's it. Listen to Jim. If you listen to the podcast, make sure that you tell a friend about it. If you can subscribe on YouTube, like the videos, or retweet it, just help us spread the word. As we said, the numbers are looking good. They're going up all the time. But let's spread it a little bit. That's all because
like
of Jimbo.
Birthday, Willie. His little ginger Willie going up this morning.
Anyway, make sure you enjoy the rest of your week. We will be back with you, of course, next week on the Boot Room Podcast. All the best.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.